Back now on America's Forum, continuing our conversation with political analyst Dick Morris, the co-author of the new book, Power Grab, Obama's Dangerous Plan for a One-Party Nation. And again, we want to make sure we give equal billing to Dick's wife, Eileen McGann, who is the co-author of this book, which is #1 amongst political books at Amazon.com. Dick, as we bring you back, we make note of a new column you've just authored in which you say the GOP has a midterm election edge. For some folks, they'd say, well, wait a minute, Dick. If Republicans are going to win the midterms, how on earth can the president lock up one-party rule in the future?
Well, he can do it because by centralizing power in the presidency and then using voter fraud on a national scale, particularly in large urban areas, to elect the president. That's why he wants to eliminate the Electoral College. I think that but there is a lot we can do if we control the Senate. Every issue in politics, in my view, JD, has an indelible and an irreversible skew, one way or the other, to the Democrats or to the Republicans. And so crime is always a Republican issue. Education and health care and elderly and Social Security, the environment are Democratic issues. National security, terrorism, taxes are Republican issues. And when the environment, the news environment, brings a topic to the fore, if that's a Republican issue, it gives a real edge to the Republican Party. And if it's a Democratic issue, it works the other way. And right now, national security, ISIS, terrorism, the beheadings, is dominating the news, obviously. We are now clearly in Iraq War III. They're sending helicopters to support ground troops. That means boots at least in the air, but probably also eventually on the ground. And as that happens, this becomes the dominant issue. And on that issue, Republicans have a huge edge. Their historic edge, and Obama's incompetence gives them even a greater edge. And I think that that's the wind at the back of Republican candidates.
Dick,
in fact, the only way the Democrats could hold on to the Senate is in two key races, Kansas and South Dakota, advancing a Democrat in independent clothing. Pressler in South Dakota and Orman in Oklahoma are Democrats. Both supported Obama, but they're being dressed up as independents because they know people won't vote for the Democrat if they call themselves Democrats.
Curious to see that change in branding, if you will. Let me just ask you this. When it comes to the president's traditional supporters, 6-year itch and all of that taken into consideration, but for a lot of independent voters and some on the left, when it comes to Mr. Obama, quite simply, is it a situation where the thrill is gone? Got about a minute.
I think it's a thrill, but I think it's also a question of competence. We are so busy attacking him from the right over ideology and issue differences. But if you just look at the issue of competence, incompetence at the VA, incompetence at the Secret Service, incompetence in protecting Benghazi, incompetence in assessing the risk of ISIS, incompetence in dealings with Russia, you're dealing with a president who has incompetence written all over him. And I think that's beginning to take a toll. But the other thing is that it is apparent that the peace candidate has now landed us in Iraq War III. This isn't some bombing mission like Clinton sent over to enforce sanctions. This is a war. And when we send helicopters that can be shot down easily with Stinger missiles, loaded with American GIs, you're talking about a ground war. And that will become increasingly apparent, and among Obama's base, increasingly unpopular.
And Dick, we will invite you back to talk about it as it continues. For now, let's take this opportunity to remind folks about your new book that you co-authored with your wife, Eileen McGann, Power Grab, Obama's Dangerous Plan for a One-Party Nation. And again, the place where you can find out more is the website powergrab411.com. Your take on what may happen in the midterms, we'd love you to tweet me your comments at NewsmaxTV, #America's Forum.